What a rapid turnaround, and we can report that this isn't just due to the fact that we had the beginning of fall on Monday, although it is seasonable in that regard. It's because it was so cloudy today.
It's true, and it's not sticking around too much longer, I don't think.
Now, we're going to get a lot of rain as a result of these clouds, but the temperatures will be climbing back up within a few days.
I'm sure, and to tell us more about this fall-like weather and maybe the possibility of future summer temperatures returning, we'll have Zach at the wall.
Hey guys, sorry about that. We're having a few technical difficulties. But yes, it was cloudy and overcast today and quite cool as well. As you can see across our satellite and radar, clouds just streaming into the region, and that's going to continue for the next few days. Taking a look at our temperatures though, 70s across the board, but I can assure you that's not where it was earlier today. We saw highs in the 60s, 63 this morning. Was officially our low in Tallahassee, but it's since warmed up. We saw a few breaks in the clouds, but we're going to definitely warm up this weekend. As I step off screen here and show you a little more nationally, you can see some rain starting to move in to the Texas region. San Antonio, we'll cover that a little later, as well as Florida, starting to see a lot more rainfall down south. Here's our weather headlines. Clouds are hanging around. It's going to be a rainy weekend, and those summer temperatures are going to be returning later today. Back to you guys.
And thanks, Zach. Yeah, those summer temperatures, coming back at us.
Yep, it started autumn, but it's going to turn back the tables a little bit. And speaking of going back in time, we're going to turn the tables back 10 years now to Hurricane Jeanne.
Hurricane Jeanne, which was one of the last of the big four of the hurricanes that hit Florida Peninsula back in that 2004 hurricane season.
Yes, indeed. It made landfall near Stuart, Florida as a Category 3 hurricane.
So a major hurricane that just hit, and only 3 weeks after Hurricane Jeanne hit the peninsula as well. So quite an active season it was.
Oh yeah, hurricane after hurricane battering the state of Florida. Fortunately, we haven't seen a season like that since then.
It's very true, and Hurricane Jeanne was the, it cost $6.8 billion worth of damages and is the 12th deadliest hurricane in Atlantic history.
Yeah, indeed, and it also, in terms of deaths, it caused 5 in the U.S., which isn't too bad for a major storm, but 3,000 people died when Jeanne was crossing over Haiti, and it wasn't even a major hurricane at that point, which just goes to show that we can't take tropical storms lightly.
No, luckily though, this season, 10 years later, we're not doing too bad. We'll talk more about that in the tropics later, but definitely don't want a repeat of Hurricane Jeanne.
Yeah, we certainly do not. And now it's time to bring it back home, and we're going to take you out for a look around the local right now. And we're going to see what's going on in the Big Bend region right now. It is currently, we're looking at temperature of, we got only to a high of 72 degrees, as Connor and I reported earlier, and a low of 65. Now that's not a very large spread for a whole day. Now let's look at where we are right now in the capital city. It's 71 degrees, and that's just astonishing. This, as Connor and I were reporting, these are the lows we usually see this time of year. Now, spreading our gaze a little bit, we're going to see what our neighbors are dealing with right now. Lots of water vapor in the atmosphere. It's not too moist per se, but all these shades across the map are indicating regions where there are lots of clouds right now, and that's what's been keeping the temperatures so darn cool today. Now, what are our neighbors feeling right now? We've got 71 here in Tallahassee and similar conditions across the Big Bend region. We're looking at lower 70s, dipping down into the upper 60s as the sun begins to set behind all those clouds. Now here's a graph of exactly what the temperatures we saw today were. I'm going to step off to give you a better look at that. We started off last night at about the same temperature we are right now, dipping down to a low of 65 degrees at breakfast time and climbing steadily, though not that much, to 71 degrees as we maxed out between 3 and 5 p.m. this afternoon. Now let's take a glimpse at what we're going to see over the next 7 days. Here's that culprit that's responsible for all those clouds, this cold front, and that's going to slowly inch its way off into the Atlantic and leaving in its wake a very rainy weekend in store for us. Notice these green arrows indicating the onshore flow across the peninsula, and that's going to push lots of moisture into our region. We can't say for certain that it's going to be an utter washout over the next few days, but we are certainly going to be seeing more than our fair share of rain. We're calling percentages in the 50s and 60s. And now we're going to take a look at what tomorrow's forecast is. And we're looking for much warmer than today, nearly 20 degrees warmer to be specific, 87 degrees, can you believe it? But it is still going to be cloudy, but as all that rain falls, we're going to actually see temperatures climb a little bit. They won't get so cool overnight as a result. And the 7 days ahead, let's take a look at that. We've got 85 on Saturday when we play NC State, and that's when the highest chance of rain is, continuing into a rainy Monday and finally clearing by this time next week when highs will return to near 90 degrees. Now let's send it off to Allie for a look around the wider southeast.
Thanks, Shane. Yes, we are going to zoom out just a little bit as we look at our temperatures around the region. And I'm sure you guys have noticed as you walk outside, it is slightly cooler. You know, we're not seeing those red colors around our region now, and they are just slightly lower. So for our current conditions, here in Tallahassee, we are just about in the 70s. Same story pretty much around the region, you know, low 80s, mid 70s. But for now, it's just nice and refreshing, and we are loving that. For our today's high temperatures, I will step off just so you can get a little bit better look at those. Today in Tallahassee, we only hit a high of 72 degrees. 72 sounds much better than those 92 temperatures that we were seeing just a couple weeks ago. Pretty much the same story over there in Tupelo. They're at 84 over in Little Rock, and 83 in New Orleans. So generally around the region, we are having some great, nice, refreshing temperatures. As for our temperature changes, though, this is where you can really start to see how we are cooling off. You can see these negative numbers don't actually mean the temperature is negative. It means that our temperature has dropped within 24 hours. So in Tallahassee, we're over here at -6, meaning that today our temperature was 6 degrees cooler than it was yesterday. So I'm sure that is music to everybody's ears as we are heading into fall and looking forward to those slightly cooler temperatures. For our satellite and radar, though, you can see that cold front sitting off the coast in the Atlantic. We don't have any of that rain over us now. And just a little bit towards Texas, you can start to see some more color. And that is just because of a low. It is pushing in towards Texas, and they're actually going to get some rain tomorrow and into the next day. Around Houston, we're looking at around 2 inches. So it is going to be a significant amount of rain for them. We will look at our futurecast now, and I'm sure if you look outside today, all you saw were clouds, and that is basically what you can see for this. That color, that is the rain, and it's just kind of pushing off the coast, and then that white color is going to come on in and basically cover Tallahassee and most of the Florida region. Those are those clouds, and that is what kept us nice and cool today. The sun didn't get a chance to peek on through, keeping our temperatures nice and moderate. Like I said, we only got up to about 72, so we're feeling pretty good, even though I know I was missing that sunshine just a little bit. For tonight's forecast, though, we will take a look at those numbers, and Tallahassee, we're looking at a nice 64 degrees, 61 in Montgomery, 59 in Tupelo, so it is going to be a nice mild evening. And for tomorrow, still clouds here in Tallahassee at 89 degrees, and a little bit of sunshine over there in Little Rock. But for now, we're going to send it back to Shane and Connor at the desk.
Thanks, Allie. Yeah, so rain. We might get it here, but unfortunately in California, not getting it quite yet.
They certainly aren't. In fact, 60% of California is under exceptional drought rating. That's the highest rating on the drought scale.
And so they need it pretty bad. Actually, one of our previous graduates from the meteorology program, Ryan Smithies, he is there working as a meteorologist and said he just got rain at his house for the first time since July.
That's just remarkable to think how often we get rain here and how infrequently it's been happening in the state of California. But an interesting factor, while they could be getting rain from an incoming low pressure system, what they really need is snow.
No, because the biggest impact will come from the runoff from the mountains when it does snow, as their wet season is November through March. So fingers crossed that it will help their exceptional drought record.
Yeah, absolutely. We're still about a month out from wet season, but we're looking optimistically towards improved conditions. And now we're going to send it out to Zach for a look around the whole nation.
Thanks, guys. We're looking at temperatures across the nation, rather uniform, at least in the southeast. But as we move out west, we're looking at some warmer temperatures, especially from what we're seeing here in Tallahassee. 72 is our unofficial high temperature today in Tally, but you can see 70s in Atlanta, 80s out west as well. So it looks rather nice temperature-wise, but check this graphic out. We're looking at our 24-hour temperature change, and you can see Tallahassee sitting right there in the negatives. That means we've dropped some degrees since yesterday. In fact, we've dropped 10 degrees since yesterday, as it was earlier. Now we've dropped only, I believe it's 8. So we have dropped, we have gone down, but you've also seen some positives, especially up north in North Dakota, up in the plus degrees. As for our satellite and radar, check this out. Texas, you're starting to see some moisture begin to stream on into your region. That's due to an upper level low that caused a little of a disturbance this week. It picked up a lot of that moisture and starting to push out towards your region. San Antonio, Galveston, Houston, you guys are all going to begin to see some rainy conditions over the next few days, up to 2 inches of rain in some spots. Out west also saw some rain, and we'll check that out in just one quick second. But first, our satellite tour. A check of the northeast. You can see some rainfall. In fact, some moderate to heavy rainfall moved through the 95 corridor earlier today. Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Newark, all those areas got rather soaked. In fact, about an inch of rain fell in Washington earlier today. Moving down south, some more rain starting just off the coast of Florida near Miami and the Nature Coast. So it is beginning to move into the area. It's also going to begin to move out starting tomorrow. So Florida will begin to dry out the farther south you go. If you're staying in the Panhandle, unfortunately, it's going to be still a soggy ride. Here's our next graphic. Sorry, we're having a few technical difficulties here, but we're looking at our system beginning to push on to the flow of Texas. This is going to bring about 2 inches of rain, as I was saying earlier, over the next few days, and that's going to continue practically for the next few days. Here's California as well, and this rain is going to push over later on tonight. Ryan Smithies, they were talking at the desk, was seeing some rainfall earlier today, and it's very rare for California to see any rainfall of that nature. I step off. Here's the last look of our nation on all the rainfall I covered, and tonight's lows we're looking at, look, 53 in Seattle. Blue, that blue means 30s and some 60s in Tally. Tomorrow's high, 101 in Phoenix is the winner, 78 in Washington, D.C. But we're going to send it off to Connor for Local 2.
And thank you, Zach. So yeah, as Shane did explain earlier, it's been cool here. We only reached 72 as our high today, so quite different than what we were used to just a couple weeks ago. We're seeing those upper 90s, even 100 degrees. So we'll take the fall-like weather while we have it, but I don't think it's sticking around for too long. Now, if we look at our current temperatures right now, we see pretty much 70s across the board, even approaching the 60s as we do approach the later hours of the evening. And then that will be sticking around into tomorrow morning as well. Now, current dew points right now, still a little warmer, about 60-degree range across the Tallahassee region into the capital city area. So we are seeing it's a little drier, not as dry as it was yesterday, but those humidity values will slowly creep up as our low pressure does exit our region. Now, looking across the satellite and radar across the southeast, we can see that the Florida region just being inundated with rainfall down here into the south and central Florida region. But as we do look to our east and or to our west, towards east, I apologize, towards our Florida region, we can see this cold front right here, and that is what is the stationary front, that is sitting right here, and that has been staying right over South Florida, giving them that rainfall and that those thunderstorms that have popped up over the past few hours. Now, as we do go to our west, we can see the moisture over here that is in the Gulf of Mexico, not quite making it to our region, but it might be an influence into our weather later on in the week as our rain chances are going to go up. Now, as I mentioned right now, that cold front is down to our south, and so we are getting this inundated with these clouds and the overcast conditions. Not much rainfall right now, but that will change as we do move into the later days. And as this low pressure moves off to our coast, we will see this high pressure develop and give us that chance for additional moisture as we do move in to the later days into the weekend, especially with rain chances increasing to over 70% in most areas. So be sure to have those umbrellas if you are going out there. Now, tonight's forecast, we are seeing about 60 degrees across the board. Light chance for storms and activity, about 20% chance, not that much. Tomorrow's forecast, very similar to today. Warmer, though, and more sunshine. We're going to expect mid to upper 80s, which will feel nice. So getting that summer coming back just for a couple more days. Maybe some of us will actually get to keep it who like the warmer weather. But our 7-day forecast right now, we are seeing mid to upper 80s across the next 5 to 7 days, with those rain chances increasing, especially over game day on Saturday. And then those summer-like temperatures coming back, approaching 90 degrees towards the end of the week. So now we're going to go back to Allie and Zach at the desk.
Thanks, Connor. Yeah, I know you were talking earlier about that drought in California, and unfortunately what usually comes with droughts are fires.
Yes.
And right now there's a big one in California. It's about 150 square miles.
It is, and it's also less than 50% contained. And not only is that drought occurring, but like I was mentioning on our national, California did get some rainfall. But with that rainfall, it isn't ending the fire. It's still a very large fire.
It is, and a lot of firefighters are needed over there to put it out, and I think the last number I saw was about 8,000.
8,000.
They're coming from everywhere, from Florida, from Alaska, literally everywhere they can get firefighters. They need them in California.
Yeah, they do. And with that rainfall poses yet another threat for Californians, mudslides. So hopefully no mudslides will occur over the next few days, but they do have to be aware if you are going out to California anytime soon.
Definitely. But for now, we're going to send it to Shane at the wall.
Thanks, guys. And now I'm going to take you around the Sunshine State, which here in Tallahassee is not living up to its name today. We've got the visible satellite here, and we can see a lot of clouds that kept the northern part of the state especially cool today. And those are going to be responsible for some rather drastic temperature changes across the state that we can see here on the current conditions map. Notice 72 in Tallahassee, 76 in Jacksonville, and 81 in Orlando, excuse me. So it's actually quite cool across a lot of the state. Miami checking in at 79 degrees right now. As for the current dew points, these tell how much moisture is in the air, and it is very telling to notice 61 here in Tallahassee, 63 in Pensacola, and 67 in Jacksonville. Those aren't too bad. Scooting down south, however, we see 75 in Miami, and that's just sticky right now. So they're being affected by some rain showers, which we're going to take a radar tour of the state right now and see what we spot there. First, a look at the water vapor, and the shades of green on the map are what indicate the most moisture. We see that from West Palm Beach and Miami region. They're the only part of the state that's really getting inundated with any water right now. Here in Tallahassee, we're cloudy but dry at least. And will that remain the case for the next few days? Stay tuned for further details. But taking a radar tour right now, we see the Big Bend region here. Not a drop of rain in sight on the radar, and that's a happy sight for us to see. We don't want to get soaked, but umbrellas may be necessary soon. Same story is true in Jacksonville. Across the whole panhandle, it's dry out right now. Now, scooting our gaze further south, we see similar conditions around the center of the peninsula, around the Orlando, Tampa, Ocala area. But then we take our gaze all the way down to Miami, and here's where those rain showers pop up. We've got several lines of storms that are moving across the region right now from Vero Beach over to West Palm Beach to the south. Not too bad conditions overall, but we are seeing some locally heavy rain associated with these cells. Fortunately, no severe warnings have been issued at this time. Now we're going to shift our gaze to the whole state, and we're going to ask ourselves, what's going to happen next? Well, we saw that Futurecast map that Zach created earlier, and that's going to be pushing all that rain onshore, that onshore flow is, and we're going to spot a fair amount of rain over the area. Not too much tomorrow, we're thinking, but by the time the weekend rolls around, we could be seeing a fair deal of rain, actually. And similar conditions along the East Coast, spotty showers moving in and out, but not too bad overall. Now let's check out what tonight's forecast is going to be. I'm going to step off so you can read all the numbers. We're looking for 70 in Jacksonville, 64 in Tallahassee, 77 in Miami. Notice their low tonight is warmer than our high was today. And as for tomorrow, we're going to finally climb back up there. We're looking for 89 degrees. That's a dramatic increase here. And we're going to match the high in Miami with Tampa checking in at 90 degrees as well. So let's send it off to Connor now for a look at the tropics. What's going on?
And thank you, Shane. Yes, so we're still in tropical season. Even though those fall-like temperatures are here, we still do have to worry about the tropics. We are at the peak of hurricane season. Actually, just past it on September 10th was the climatological peak. But so we do have to look at the tropics, and not too much to talk about, luckily for us. We do have an eastern Pacific storm we do have to speak about. If you can look here, just to my left, we can see this is Tropical Storm Rachel here in the East Pacific. Not too strong at the moment. They have had a very active season. Stats right now, as we can look, are pretty minimal tropical storm as we look, just about 50-mile-an-hour winds. It is expected to become a stronger tropical storm as we do move into the next couple of days, approaching hurricane strength near 70-mile-an-hour winds, but staying right underneath that mark of 74 at the moment. So not expecting a hurricane, but as I mentioned, it could possibly, as it is right there, so we'll have to keep an eye on Rachel. Not looking at as much of an impact in terms of the track as we do see. We look to our, why don't we just move all the way over to Florida? So as we do look at the hurricane season right now, we don't have much to speak about in the Atlantic. We do have this one disturbance all the way here into the way eastern part of the Atlantic, moving its way westward. This is just an 10% chance the National Hurricane Center is giving it a development over the next 48 hours, even to the 5-day forecast, only about a 20% chance. So we're not looking at too much development. It has been a very quiet season, climatologically speaking, at this time. If we were to have another storm, it would be Tropical Storm Faye, as we do look at the names right now. So we do have Faye. We had Dolly and Edward just a couple of weeks ago. And Faye, interesting to speak of, actually came on my birthday, and the rainfall that we had in Central Florida approached 30 inches, and coincidentally it is they're flooding right now in Brevard and Volusia counties in Central Florida, the same locations that Tropical Storm Faye made landfall just a few years ago in 2008, I believe. So we'll have to watch that the rainfall and the flooding there. But right now, speaking tropically, not much to speak about. Now, current conditions, we are looking at the 70s and the 80s across the lower part of the state. 70s here due to that cloud cover that we have been speaking about. So that has been helpful to keep our temperatures down. A high of only 72 to 73 degrees today. So not much to speak about whatsoever. Satellite and radar just showing that cloud cover that has pushed in our area from the south. So we will have to see that and see if that sticks around tomorrow in terms of our high temperature. Tonight we're looking at the lower to mid 60s across the board here in the Panhandle. And then tomorrow we will be looking at similar conditions, just warmer with highs approaching 90 degrees. So as we move back and see what today's almanac will be, I believe Allie's going to take us away with that. So Allie, what is happening around us?
Well, we are actually going to move it pretty far all the way across the country.
We are.
We're going to talk about Alaska now. So what's going on in Alaska?
Alaska, this is breaking news, really not that breaking anymore, more like a developing story. Alaska actually had 2 earthquakes today. The first one was a very, very minor one, only lasted a few seconds, but the second one just got upgraded to a 6.2 magnitude earthquake, and I believe we have some photos right now. There we go. There's the first photo. John Wenderlant sent in this photo from Anchorage, Alaska, of his bookcase being sent over. And here's a second photo. Check this out. Of the Anchorage School District sent this photo out. Kids are underneath tables for an earthquake. This is quite insane. I cannot believe that you normally don't see that kind of stuff. So it is a developing story. We will let you know more about this. This happened around 10 a.m. Alaska Standard Time. But as more comes in, we will let you know. Until then, we're going to send it out to the wall right now with Allie for our last local. Allie, what's going on?
Well, for now, we are going to look at our almanac for today. Our high temperature was at 72 degrees. That is way, way below our average of 87. So I know you guys are loving that. I'm loving it. We didn't see too much sun today, though, but we did have our low temperature at 65 degrees. So again, very mild, very cool, pretty refreshing. And I know you guys definitely are loving that break from the heat, and I am as well. But for now, we're going to take a look around the region at our current temperatures, and you can see this nice kind of yellowy orange color, which is different from that red that we were kind of used to for those summer months. But now that we're heading into fall, you can see our current temperatures are just a little bit more pleasant. Here we're at 72 in Tallahassee, and low 70s is pretty much the story for our Big Bend region. And we will keep going with our dew point numbers, and this is a measure of how much moisture is in the air. So we did have that big cold front past us, and as that got out of the way, brought all the rain through, now we're seeing some more dry air. So our dew point numbers are slightly lower. We're here at 61 in Tallahassee, and the region is, again, fairly similar. Nice dry air now that that cold front has passed us for now. So we are enjoying that cool air. We're having some better hair days, even though we had all those clouds today. And you can see all those clouds in our satellite and radar. Here we can see Tallahassee and all of that white. Those are clouds, and that is the moisture that is in our atmosphere right now. So it didn't really give the sun a chance to peek in, but that did give us a relief from the heat. So I can't complain too much. There were clouds, but it was still a fairly nice day, at least in terms of temperatures. And if you I'll switch sides here. If you look on over to the Atlantic coast, you can see that is that cold front, and those were those, that was that rain that passed through us. But it is no longer overland, so like I said, it was just some clouds here in Tallahassee. And just slightly behind me towards Texas is that moisture I was talking about earlier. That is not affecting them now. However, in the next couple days, they will start to see some rainfall in their area, especially around Houston. But for our futurecast, we will take a look at this low pressure that is off the coast now, and that is the cold front. Here in Tallahassee and around Florida, it was nice and overcast. But as that moves off the coast, we will start to see this high pressure that is going to bring in air from the east, and we will start to see a little bit of rain as we head into the weekend. Unfortunately, I know you guys aren't looking forward to that. But for tonight's forecast, it is 64 and nice and mild. So if you are going out tonight, don't forget that jacket because it will be a cool one. But for now, we will see what is going on back at the desk.
This is exciting. We have a 4-person desk, guys. It's been a very, let's slouch down. There we go. There we go. Hey, we have a 4-person desk here. Connor, Shane, Allie, myself. It's been a good show. We had some technical difficulties, but I think we pulled it out well.
Not too
Yes,
bad.
definitely.
East, west, north, south.
East, west, north, south. Hey, it's always a fun show here at FSU Weather. What was your favorite part today?
Oh, the whole thing, improving it is pretty fun. So we learn about the technical difficulties in this.
Yes, working without visuals for our graphics was an interesting challenge, but one that we were definitely up to.
Exactly. So hopefully you guys at home didn't really mind that. Hey, taking a look at tomorrow's forecast, there it is, 87 degrees, cloudy, slight chance of rain. So hopefully that doesn't impede.
It should be some warmer temperatures.
Yeah, hey, there's the Facebook stuff. You guys can take that away.
Go ahead and like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and for all of your current needs, you can look at livestream.com/FSU Weather all the time.
For the best entertainment of the night.
Hey, thanks guys for tuning in. For everybody here, we hope you have a good night.
Good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good show.